Nation Today. Incisive, compelling, contemporary, soul-searching, and thought-provoking. Indeed, knows bar. On the Nation Today, showing today on OSBC Television, the Nation Today, capturing the essence of nationhood.
All right, good morning and welcome to your favorite news and current affairs program, The Nation Today. My name is David Ojo. Yes, our discourse today will be on the Adamawa supplementary polls. A lot of things have happened, a lot of drama has been happening in that part of the state and the country. And we also, what really transpired, a lot of updates also has been seen during the Adamawa polls. Yes, yesterday we all heard and we saw it live when Umar Fintri, the PDP governorship candidate, was returned as the governor-elect for Adamawa State, and Aisha Binani was the second in that poll. But a lot of things happened in that election, and these are some of them today on the program. And we'll look at the reason why some regs are having this kind of thoughts when it comes to election. We'll look at the appointment of regs. I will see how can the appointment of regs be reviewed. These are some of the things that we would definitely be talking about today on the Nation Today. Just like I said, it's not always me alone when it comes to this program on OSBC TV. I always have a guest and someone that is versatile enough to address what we are going to discuss this wonderful morning. I have with me a political analyst, and that we'll be doing it together on the show. We have Honorable Razak Adeosun. You're welcome to the Nation Today this morning.
It's a pleasure. Good morning, viewers. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yes, it's a great opportunity, and I know that we'll discuss this Adamawa polls election. But let's just look at this supplementary election. Let's look at the election in Nigeria. Let's start it from the 1999 election and up to date. Are you satisfied with how democracy is at the moment?
Well, I like to say that Rome was actually not built in a day. It's a common saying. And you will agree with me that we had a lot of interruption in our political story, especially the interregnum of the military.
All right.
So, and for that reason, I don't think we have had enough time to actually grow our democracy. And going by what has happened between 1999 and now, I think we have had some improvements. Improvement in terms of, amendments of the Electoral Acts. When we have an Electoral Act, we try to see the defects in the Act, and then our National Assembly have, from time to time come up to. And you will also agree with me that the election, like all other things, are, dynamic. And for that reason, the indices change with every election. For instance, the introduction of technology and all sorts. You just have to bring up the electoral law and the rules of INEC in order to be able to make up with the, level with the international standard. That's an aspect of it. The other aspect is that even we, as Nigerians, we came from a background of diverse culture and interests. The way a northerner will respect their leader is not the way we would do here. It's not the way they would do in the East. And for that reason, there's the need to work on the attitude of our people, our mindset, especially towards democracy. We were not from that background. We were not from that the democratic background. It was rulership of the traditional rulers. You know how it operates in the north. You know how it operates here. What happened, the clan system in the east.
Especially the Oyomisi
and also so for us to now adjust to this culture of democracy, we'll actually take time. We have to change our mindset time. So many factors interact to give us a good election. I think so far they are coming up.
Yeah, you just mentioned technology that has really helped the process, especially when it comes to election. Looking at, you've been in this circle for a very long time. Looking at the election so far, do you want to tell us that this technology that has been brought in, the card reader, the beavers, and all sorts, has it really helped the game of election in Nigeria?
It has helped a lot. It has, in fact, it has heightened the hope of everybody that believes in democracy, because the issue in election is to allow votes to count. So for votes to count, a lot has to be put into it, because people that are operating the system are also part of us. People that you put at the polling unit to represent INEC and also, they are part of us. They are part of the community. And for that reason, you will discover that in the past, the issue of why do people snatch a ballot and ballot box? Why do they snatch a ballot box?
I should be asking you that.
Because they don't want votes to count. Politicians, the way we think, because I'm part of them, is that at all costs we want to win an election. And all the parties, cut across political parties, they sit down to design their strategies. And the strategies might include, things that are unto us. And for that reason, the electoral process must be designed in such a way that when politicians are bringing their untoward strategies, then there must be a design to make sure that you meet with that in order to achieve that objective of making sure that votes actually count. So somebody is now thinking that, well, in this particular environment, I don't have much support. It's not my favorable area. I want to waste their vote there. I want to waste their vote there. So he's thinking of how to carry the ballot box and throw it away. That has been the thinking in the past. But technology is coming in to moderate their thinking, to make sure that they block all those, leakages. You know that when an election is coming, political strategy will sit down to see how do we approach it. And instead of going to the masses to appeal to their emotion so that they can vote for you, some people will think of how do we intimidate voters, how do they even go to the extent of scaring people away from polling units. But this time around, you are aware that you must make sure that you canvass, you approach to the emotion of the people, so that they vote. Because by the time you get to the point of voting, there is a device that is going to verify voters, that is not going to allow you people to vote twice, that is not going to allow you to, inflate figures and all those things. So the technology that has been introduced over time, when at first it was a
card reader.
That one can only read your there is another one that can read your fingers and then identify you as a person. So it's just to make sure that everybody votes once and that the vote counts, so that you don't do any manipulation. I think technology has actually helped us in reducing the level of manipulation, and it is worth celebrating.
All right, looking at the beavers that the INEC is using, that's the top notch right now in INEC. That's their latest device that they're using to conduct election. Are you satisfied with that device?
To a reasonable extent, I think I'm satisfied. Satisfied because it has actually reduced the incidence of overvoting. It has reduced the incidence of overvoting. For instance, how can a country that is growing in population be now reducing the number of votes that we cast? It means in the past something unusual was happening. It means figures were actually being inflated. So now, if 20 years ago a president will have to win with 18,000, 15,000, and he's winning by 8,000, it's 8.7 now. Then you must know that there is a device that has actually proven down the level of manipulation that has been going on in the past. So I want to think that for now, Beavers has done a lot to ensure that you vote once, that you vote once, and that figures are not inflated. You see, the inflation of figures and all these things that we are talking of is about human factor. It's about conspiracy. It's about connivance, even with the umpires, even with the security agencies. You can't do it all alone, except there is conspiracy somewhere. So it's about corruption. So, but this particular device is actually, let me go to the banking sector.
All right.
In the past, the system is to open ledgers upon ledgers upon ledgers upon ledgers.
You see a lot of books.
A lot of books.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And at the end of the day, you see somebody manipulating figures and stealing money, and they throw, and you hear that it's in detention. But now it is computerized. You operate electronically. When was the last time you were in the bank?
I can't really recall any.
Because your transactions are done on your phone. So even though there is also cyber crime criminals, but you see, not everybody has sufficient knowledge to be able to interject what is happening online. So for that reason, I think the beavers of it in technology in general, I think it has. There's also the server that is there to also. The beavers will have to relate with the server. So all this network, what I want to call the internal control system, the mechanism for controlling the figures across the country, is also geared towards ensuring that people are not able to manipulate votes, so that every vote will count.
Well, let's look at Nigerian election as a whole. Most times when we have elections like this, we always have one word or the other, to explain our own election here. Sometimes we talk about supplementary elections. Sometimes we talk about, so many things on our own election, quote and unquote. Let's look at the Adamawa supplementary election. And before we look at the supplementary election, let's just look at what transpired to the supplementary election. Because you said Beavers has been a wonderful, it has been a Midas touch, a magic behind INEC. So why are we still having this issue and going to supplementary elections?
Well, supplementary election can arise as a result of many reasons. In most cases, when elections are not concluded at polling units, maybe for reasons of distortion of election. Sometimes you have, for instance, a state can have about 3,000 polling units, and at the end of the day, you have result from, say, about 80% or 90%, and the remaining 10%, you discover that results are not coming in. Why are the results not coming in? When you sit at the Central Collation Center to take record of those areas where results refuse to come in, then those people returning from those local government will have to explain at the center, why is it that you are not bringing results? Sometimes they will say because there was a cancellation. Why were there cancellations? You must give account. Sometimes you say outrightly election did not hold. Is it because Beavers did not function, or it malfunctioned, or because many reasons? When all these accumulate and there is and the INEC discovered that those areas that had not gotten election are substantial. They call for supplementary election. So if it is not substantial, if they know that this particular result, when they come in, will not even have an effect on the result, sometimes they do their declaration. But when it is going to have, effect on the result, when it is substantial, that's the language.
Oh yeah.
When it is substantial, they will have to call for a rerun. There are actually regulations of INEC that guide that, and then the Electoral Act too. So it's not out of order to order for supplementary elections.
Well, we'll talk about tribunals and also, but let's just look at this Adamawa election. Exactly 5:49 p.m. Nigerian time yesterday, the announcement of who eventually won the gubernatorial seat in Adamawa was mentioned live on national TV, and it was the PDP candidate Umaru Fintiri that had 430,861 against Senator Bilani of APC with 396,788. Very close indeed.
It's not very close. We have a clear-cut difference of it's over 30,000.
Yeah,
30,000 is not a close figure in an election. It's not.
Not like one, not like two.
It's not at all. It's not at all. So we must put that record straight. That's 30,000.
It's a big one.
It's a big difference. You need to have 30,000 people to line up. The Oshobo Township Stadium cannot take 10,000 people. So it's substantial. Now, I think the issue is about who actually has the right to declare results.
Yeah.
There is a returning officer for that particular governorship election.
Yeah.
So I think they have thrown up a very serious legal issue in the court of law as to who actually has the right to declare an election, and what is the role of the resident electoral commissioner, what is supposed to be his role, what is supposed to be the role of the returning officer.
With your experience in politics, you've seen a lot of election, no doubt about it. You've seen Rex, you've seen...
Not even seen, I've been coalition agents for more than 20 years.
So you know the nitty-gritty of...
Yes,
what transpired in Adama, was Was it something to smile at in Nigerian politics? Looking at the reg and the...
You see, the event that followed, the event that followed, especially the suspension of the resident electoral commissioner and the apprehension of even the police commissioner.
Let's talk about the suspension first.
The suspension is an indication. You will know that we all know that INEC is actually not in support of the first declaration. That's why they order for the
supplementary
the continuation of the collation. So what INEC stood by was that the collation had not even been concluded before you declare the result. They weren't actually saying that resident electoral commissioner does not have the right to declare result. The issue was they had not concluded the collation.
But does the REC have the right to announce?
That's another issue for the court to decide, because it's already a contentious issue in our electoral system now. So, and it has to be escalated to the court. It has been escalated already. So I think that would be for the legal juggernauts
to address.
To treat. I'm not a lawyer. I'm only arguing from the perspective of my experience as
in politics.
So, and I don't think I've had this experience in the past of INEC declaring a result and then coming back to say, because we can't say it was not INEC that declared the result, because it was the electoral commissioner that declared the result. So coming again and asking for a continuation of the collation, and the returning officer coming out to do what to them is the right declaration later, calls for questioning of the integrity of INEC and the personalities that are involved. There are culprits. There are culprits already.
But the allegation on the REC that he collected 2 billion naira to do what the allegation, like I said, well, it's not a fact at the moment, but because nobody has ever seen such in the history of Nigerian politics.
So I think it has thrown up a lot of legal issues in court. For instance, if you allege, you have to prove. If you allege, you must prove. The onus of proof is on the man that alleges. So if you can prove that he actually collected money, well, it means he has acted based on sentiment.
A lot of people, some school of thought, let me use that word, have said that the suspension of the REC was not enough for INEC, that it should be dismissed.
I see it as a starting point. You can't dismiss without trial. You must put him on trial. But while somebody is on trial, you can't suspend. And then during the suspension, you look at the circumstances around his actions, and then decide later what is going to be his final punishment. But for now, I think suspending him, at least to allow the process to run and to a conclusion, is reasonable. He has been accused. He has acted contrary to INEC instruction, rules and regulation, and for that reason, he has to be put aside. Since who will trust him again with that kind of the conclusion of the election? So the reason why INEC suspended is to allow the process to continue while he is aside. He cannot treat his case later, because it's an issue that can cause a serious crisis. You see, when you are doing an election and you are not straightforward, you are already the entire population of Adamawa were burning in the heart. So you have heated the politics already. And Adamawa is an environment that is volatile. The Northeast.
Oh yes.
In terms of security. So if you are not careful, it can degenerate into crisis, and lives can be lost. So for that reason, it requires the suspension of a team will douse tension. It has actually doused tension. That INEC is actually working on taking a step to discipline him. I think that for now is enough.
Now let's look at.
But it must be brought to book. It must be brought to book, because if it's not brought to book, the right thing is to let him go through the process of the law. Because what has happened in the past is that people, out of impunity, will do certain things, out of corruption, they will do certain things, and you let go. No scapegoat. So, why wouldn't others do the same thing in subsequent elections? But when you make somebody a scapegoat, when he's made to be answerable to his iniquities, then it's going to be a warning. It's going to be a warning sign to people who might have the same thinking in the future.
We are looking at the REC. We still have to talk about them anyway. A lot of people are saying that their appointments should be reviewed. What do you?
Well, if the review of the appointment is to ensure that they are not biased, if it is to say, for instance, ordinarily for a resident or electoral commissioner to be appointed, it should not have any political leaning.
But most of those that we see nowadays, is it that they are one party, siding one party or the other?
That is why one may be forced to believe that he's acting based on inducement. Based on inducement. So we are all Nigerians and we are all political animals. We all have tendency to tilt. But when doing an appointment, you must make sure that such a person does not have a record of political affiliation. Because when you have a political affiliation, it even goes in our own clan here. It goes into your genealogy. If my father was a progressive, it will continue to recall in my thinking and my disposition. You need to go into the history of people that you are going to put in INEC. They must be absolutely objective. They shouldn't be people that but appointments, who recommends people for appointment in the first instance? Then who appoints? So it calls to question the issue of independence of INEC.
The INEC.
If INEC has the free hand to make the appointment, if suggestions are not to be made to them by a politician, I cannot suggest you for a position and you are not going to, do my bid when you get there. So that is the issue that is on ground. Then the other issue is the possibility of irresistible offers. You can be a man of integrity in the real sense of it.
When it comes to money issues.
But how much have you seen in the past? How much have you seen in the past? How much has passed through your account in your history as a man? But when you give here an offer that is not resistible, some people, it takes the Spirit of God for people to be able to resist. It's only people who knows that these things are temporary that can resist such offers. Not currencies that you have not seen before. Dollars, moving around. So all those things are, issues that we should continue to deal with in our electoral process, so that one day we will actually get there. There's no perfect democracy, but our own needs more perfection.
Looking at, you just mentioned corruption now, and it has really eaten deep into our democracy, and we look at most of the elections that we do, and it's always revolve around issue of vote buying, people being induced with huge amount of money, and just like we saw in the allegation that we saw in Adamawa. What do you think we should do as a country to make sure, at least to some extent, even if we cannot erase it, how can we reduce that kind of money spilling when it comes to Nigerian politics?
Well, we have a very faulty foundation. Faulty foundation in that while we were in school in those days, we were actually doing some compulsory courses like civics.
That's true.
Where you build the thinking of the students right from their childhood as to the importance of having good governance and what are the menaces of having a bad one. The effect of having a bad government on the citizenry. If I know that if a bad government is enthroned, the penalty is coming back to me, that I will suffer for it. I will not allow somebody to come and give me 3,000 naira to come and cash vote for him. I will not. Because I know that by collecting the 3,000, I am mortgaging my future. So, but it takes, you know, training, it takes the school curriculum has been so bastardized that those issues, we don't even have history these days. People, our children don't have history. Go and ask them what happened to our Lord. They don't know. They don't know. They just hear the name. They just know. Most of them don't know that there were sincere people in government in the past. So, and they are concluded there cannot be sincere people in government again. And for that reason, the truth, not challenge attitude, make mistakes that is going to cause problem for them. Problem of poverty, problem of insecurity, and associated menace. So I think corruption, it is not about electoral system alone. It is all like it has eaten deep into the fabric of the society. They even call it the Nigerian factor. The Nigerian factor. You call corruption PR. And when you are not into it, you become an outcast. Been an office where they have merely meant to say, I carry religion on my head. Because as an evangelist, I know that when I move in certain direction, my thinking, especially in the amassment of wealth that is illegitimate, I know that I have to run back. I have to run to the mountain to continue to roll on the guard before my mind will be at rest. So when I ask, why will you do this, and they say this man has put religion on his head, and it's no
religion into politics.
Yes, I'm a political evangelist.
I know.
So for that reason, they consider you an outcast. You don't belong. You don't belong. And very few are like that. So, not preaching righteousness, but it takes the Spirit of God to be able to resist corruption, corrupt practices, sinful practices, even common annoyance distances you from God. Common annoyance. Talk less of asking people they must do this before you do that for them. How much has God taken from you to give you your breath? So it has actually, so all this even in the school system, like we were speaking about civic and history the other time, we not only got teach religion. We were taught Bible and the Quran where we were in school, and it is having an effect on us up to today. So, but what do we teach in school now? Every parent is saying, just go and be a doctor. You must study physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, and become a doctor. That is their thinking. They are not considering the moral values that is associated with it. So by the time you train your child, he becomes a doctor. He does so many things that that will eventually spoil your name. That will spoil your name eventually in the final analysis. So corruption is with us. And I want to say that some steps have been taken in the past, in the very recent past, that shocked all of us in this country.
Can you share with us?
We were going to election, and we have a president who insisted that he was not going to allow vote buying. The timing of the implementation of the cashless policies was specifically, and the president said it, was specifically designed to make sure that the election period was, such that you will not have money to give to people. And it actually played out. It actually played out. You could see people at the polling units. The first election, we had a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
We had a lot of people turning out for the presidential election. They came, they were disappointed.
So that's why we saw some voter apathy in the state house.
In the state house of assembly. They say, okay, I cannot go and waste my time when they are not bringing money. Why they are not bringing money? So I think we're
trying to change that mentality.
We're trying to change the mentality, honestly speaking. Right. The turnout was too low for the election. But it is just the start. If we have another president that can sustain that thinking, I think we are likely to get there. So that people will know that good governance is what we need. Good governance is the best for them. And that when they sell their vote, they have mortgaged their future.
Well, before we leave the Adamawa issue, there's this allegation too, and the IGP had to remove the CP in Adamawa State because of what really transpired. Is it removing the CP that will stop this kind of acts on, every time we have elections like this? Because when issues like these happen, you just see they remove, either they remove the CP or they remove the AIG that is in charge, and that's the last thing we will hear about that story. Is it about removing? Because we heard that there was an allegation as well that he was part of those that were given the 2 billion naira.
I see it as palliative. Palliative because that election stakeholders meet when an election is going on. There will be stakeholders meeting an election, and when you are supposed to be an objective arbiter, and you are alleged, and the election must be concluded, then for the stakeholders, especially the political parties and the citizenry, to have confidence in the conclusion of the election, you must remove certain people. Otherwise, the integrity and the sanctity of the election might be questioned. So I think the palliative measures of suspending the ANEC,
the REC,
and of removing the police CP is to build confidence, so that the remaining part of the election will be will appeal to all the stakeholders. Otherwise, if you are alleged that you have collected money and you are still the person that is going to conclude the election, definitely the stakeholders will not have confidence. They say they don't have confidence. Haven't you seen even in the court of law where you raise suggestion that this particular justice is biased, is the family of so person, and therefore I don't have confidence? You have the right to say that. And the judicial system will take judicial notice of it too, so that the outcome will be acceptable to all. It's about acceptability of the end result of the election, the acceptability. That is why the police IG decided to remove the commissioner of police from that particular environment. Because for you to sit down and declare a result, you must have all the security agencies on seat. Are you telling me that the security agencies that were seated while the resident electoral commissioner was declaring the result were not aware that all results have not trickled in? So there can be connivance. There can be connivance.
Well, I keep telling whoever cares to listen that for a lawyer as the rec is a barrister, for crying out loud, and he knows the law, and for him to do such a thing and think he will get away with it, I'm not sure he'll be able to get away with issues like that.
Well, without conceding that it was an accomplish, without me conceding, because I don't have
the facts.
The facts.
All right.
I think I spoke about irresistible offers the other time. Irresistible offers, when there is an irresistible offer, it's beyond saying that I am even a prophet. That I want you seeing ministers of God, prophesying that this will happen, this will not happen, because they have idols in their heart. Idols of what? Idols of their closeness to presidential candidates who have actually contributed enormously to the success of their ministry. And it's now contesting election, and if you will not say something that will favor him. So offers goes beyond I am a lawyer. A lawyer is also
a human being,
and a Nigerian. and if actually there is a Nigerian factor, then the lawyers are not exonerated. So we are all in it together. So it is just that it is our hope that things will get better. I think it has to stop from the top. It has to start from the top. Because if the leadership is standing out clean, there is a tendency for the followers to want to learn from him. And but if the head is also corrupt,
there's no way you can control.
It's going to be, this is the central. The head is the one controlling that. It passes through our nervous system and control every part of the body. So once it is dirty upstairs, it is going to be dirty trough. So that is why we should not take lightly the issue of election, because election is the only process through which leadership emerge. If a bad leader emerge, then there is problem. When God wants to punish a nation, he will give them a bad leader.
All right, before I let you go, because we hardly have a chance to bring you on the set, let's talk about, briefly before we leave the studio this morning, let's talk about the Kogi and the Bayelsa election that will be coming up November. What do you think INEC should be doing this time around, looking at what has happened in the past election? What do you think they should look out to, and even the electorate and everybody that is involved in the electoral process?
Well, one advantage with off-season elections is that you have more hands to employ in prosecuting such elections. For instance, now if you want to talk about security during the election period, now election is going on across the country. So even the police are overstretched. There are polling units during the presidential election that hadn't enough security to man the polling units. But now, if you have an off-season election in a state like Bayelsa or Kogi, you have that, advantage of, if you like, bring 30,000 policemen from across the country to come and man it. So it is better for off-season elections. Even with the INEC staffers, you also have as many, even if you want resident electoral commissioners to come and be
the returning
officer, you have more than enough. You have more. So off-season elections have this advantage of having more hands to handle them. That's why in the area of security, because security is key when you want to do an election, the area of security, in the area of people who actually man the election, you have more hands to operate. And the election, they will also learn from this current election. The behavior of the technological devices that are put into the election. You see, it's not going to be new to them again. They had the House of Assembly election, they had the presidential election, they have interacted with the technological devices, and for that reason, it's not new to them now. They are prepared for it, they are more prepared for it. They are getting used to it. So it will make the election, better and easier. And this particular incident in Adamawa, we also assist because they now know that when you do such things,
the penalties,
it attracts penalty. So everybody, I think we will have a better election.
All right, we hope to go on and on this program this wonderful morning to talk about the drama that transpired in Adamawa and the update talking about the eventual winner of the gubernatorial election in Adamawa State, talking about the governor of that state, Umaru Fintiri, that has won with over 430,000 votes, and that's commendable in the terms of INEC, taking a swift action to make sure that the election, went well, like the Nigerians will want to see it. And we hope that, just like I said, the Kogi, the Bayelsa, and the Imo election that will be coming up in November, we hope that we'll see a better INEC, a better electorate, a better security agencies in that election. Evangelist Razak, we want to say a big thank you for coming to the nation today.
It's a pleasure for having me. So
anytime we'll call on you to talk about politics or anything related to national issues, we hope you
I've always obliged your request.
All right.
I'm a friend of the OSBC.
All right. That is how far we can go on the nation today. Join us same time next week when I bring you another interesting personality to talk about the issue that is concerning this nation. My name is David Ojo. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.
The Nation today, incisive, compelling, contemporary, soul-searching, and thought-provoking. Indeed, knows bar. On The Nation today, showing today on OSBC television. The Nation today, capturing the essence of nationhood. The Nation today, incisive, compelling, contemporary, soul-searching, and thought-provoking. Indeed, knows bar. On The Nation today, showing today on OSBC television.